Hello, my name is Fenna. Welcome to Following Fenna. I am a certified coach and counselor, and I work with people in a limerent episode and also with their partner. Now, when you are completely, obsessively in love with someone, your brain literally looks different on a brain scan. And I don't mean metaphorically different, actually physically different. And scientists have proven that. And in this video, I'm going to explain you how that works because it's important for you to know because it explains so much. And I'm also going to give you some really good news. Today, we're talking about what happens to your brain when you experience limerence. And with limerence, we mean the obsessive, I cannot stop thinking about this person, even if I want to, kind of love. And I'm going to explain to you what happens in your brain in the most simplest way possible, so you can actually follow and understand what the hell is happening within you when you are in a so-called limerent episode or the altered state of limerence. And we call it an altered state for a reason, meaning that you think, act, and feel differently than you normally would. Okay. First, let's talk about what actually gets turned up in your brain during limerence. Now, think of your brain as having a reward system. And if you've seen any of my videos or you've read a little bit about limerence, you already know that your brain actually has a reward system. It's like a slot machine that gives you good feelings / dopamine when something exciting happens. And in the example of a slot machine, of course, that is winning something. When you're limerent, this system goes absolutely wild. And there are three main areas that become hyperactive in your brain. And I won't bore you with all the complicated names, but basically your brain starts producing way too much dopamine, an unnatural amount of dopamine that normally we don't produce, not that much. And dopamine is the I want to get this in the future kind of chemical. And that is also why limerence feels so amazing in the first few weeks or even in the first months. But your goal-seeking brain area becomes laser focused on the source of that dopamine. And the source in this case is the other person. Your pleasure center starts treating every interaction like hitting the jackpot. And this is why you can spend hours analyzing a single text or look at messages over and over, or you see their name pop up somewhere, and even a picture of them can feel like Christmas morning or getting a really big present. Your brain is literally giving you the chemical high every time something reminds you of your limerent object or you have an interaction with them. So that goes up. Now, what goes down? Your logical brain shuts down. Yeah, that kind of explains some things. Now, the scary part is why all these reward areas are going crazy. The other part of our brain basically kind of checks out or goes to sleep. It doesn't function like it's supposed to. Your prefrontal cortex, that is your thinking brain, becomes much less active during limerence. And this is the part that normally helps you to make good decisions, control your impulses, and think logically. and long term, and it can help you oversee things and problems in the future. So you have this brain that is flooded with I want this reward slash person chemicals, but your ability to think clearly about whether that is actually a good idea is severely reduced. Yeah, this explains why so many people in limerence do things that seem completely out of character, like texting them at 3 a.m. or driving across town just to catch a glimpse of them, or doing the grand gestures for a coworker, losing it to a limerent object. And I am sure you have your own examples what we did, irrational things we did, or that we are still doing. And I was talking to a client yesterday who 1 year ago wanted to hop on a plane and leave everything behind to move to the Bahamas for someone he had seen only 5 times. And now that he was coming out of the fog, he stated, what a mess that would have been. Moving to an unknown country for someone who was also kind of still married, and they didn't speak the same language, and they hardly knew each other. They've only seen each other a few times. I mean, that is actually a great example that we think short term. Limerence thinks short term. Great example. And after we come out of the fog, we sometimes feel a lot of shame around what we did and what we were thinking. What the hell was I thinking? Did I really wanted to leave everything behind, leave my kids behind for someone, that I didn't even know? Did I become crazy? No, you're not going crazy. Your control center is literally operating at reduced level. And when the scientist Fisher compared brain scans of people who were in limerence to people who are addicted to cocaine, the patterns looked identical. The same areas lightened up. The same chemicals were involved, the same reward-seeking behavior. And that means that limerence isn't just, like an addiction, but it is an addiction, and boy, don't we feel it. This is also the reason why going no contact feels so horrible in the beginning. It's not just emotional pain from missing someone, it's the actual withdrawal. Your brain is craving the drug. And of course, the drug in this case is the other person. And just like any other addiction, you also develop tolerance. You need more and more contact or validation, in this case, to get the same high. One text isn't enough at one point anymore. You need longer conversations, more interaction, more validation. Yeah, okay, well, thanks, Fenna. That sounds awful. Is there any good news to this? Yes, because brains do change back. These changes are not permanent. As limerence fades, whether naturally or through, deliberate going through no contact, after a while, your brain chemistry will return to normal. Your logical brain becomes back and back in action, and your reward system calms down to how it normally is. And you don't longer need this person to regulate. And I talk about quite often about neuroplasticity on my channel because the brain changes all the time. And it's so important to know because it gives so much hope. A conditioned brain can and will condition back to its old shape you will not be in limerence forever. Your brain is in an altered state, but it will not stay like this. And if you're going through limerence right now, please be patient with yourself. This is not a choice. Your brain is literally working differently than it normally does. And that's not your fault. Like I said, that's not a choice. But understanding the science doesn't really make it hurt less, but it does help for you to realize that what you're experiencing is real. It's real, it's measurable, it is scientifically proven, and it's temporary if you stop the addiction. It might take a while, but limerence will fade if you stop the interaction, if you stop the addiction. If you have any questions or you want to talk to me, please send me an email. My email address is in the description below. And for now, I want to thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.